So many interesting parts of this conversation. The section that I'm going to feature in this video deals specifically with the idea of logos. There's also a little clip at the end that I'm going to play from where Jordan Peterson is responding to this idea in a extremely emotional way. It's very interesting. I'm going to stop talking. Why am I still talking? Let's dive in.
I just completed a couple of documentaries with the Daily Wire Plus crew, and one of them was in Athens and two were in Jerusalem. And we were trying to puzzle out the relationship between Greek thought and Judeo-Christian thought, most particularly the strange happenstance that the Greek idea of an intrinsic logos in the world seemed to dovetail with the Judeo-Christian idea of, you might say, of the word incarnate in the human psyche. And it seemed to me, and obviously to other observers, that there was an affinity between the Greek idea that the cosmos had an intrinsic comprehensibility and the idea that the proper orientation for human beings ethically would be one of honest communication and investigation. And those two things snapped on top of each other. And it made me think of something that I actually learned from Richard Dawkins. And I think this is a deep idea. Dawkins wrote a very influential essay where he claimed that any organism that can function in an environment has to be a microcosm of that environment. So, for example, if you were an alien biologist and you were presented with a terrestrial bird and you took the bird apart, you could infer from the bird's structure the gravitational pull of the earth, the density of the atmosphere, the chemical composition of the atmosphere, the electromagnetic frequency that the sunlight was, what would you say, most at what electromagnetic frequencies the sun's light was most amenable to vision, etc. You could derive a model of the environment from the physiology of the organism. Now, I know that there were medieval ideas that were deep in Christianity, that the human soul was a microcosm of the cosmos, right? That it reflected the structure of reality itself. And I've been thinking about this in terms of how the world might be best conceptualized. So there's a mix of ideas here. And if an organism has to be a microcosm of the cosmos in order to function, and we are a microcosm in that regard, and we are a personality that runs on a narrative, which we seem to be, then in what way is it reasonable to claim that the cosmos itself is best conceptualized as something that can be entered into relationship with personality to personality, and that that's not the most fundamental reflection of reality? I mean, it seems to me that that's where Dawkins' thought eventually points, if his proclamation that an organism has to be a microcosm, an accurate microcosm in order to survive, is accurate. So,
okay, one very brief point of clarification here before John Lennox dives in is to say this, that the universe itself is also a part of that microcosm, that along with humanity and the rest of creation are all reflecting something that is true about God, who is outside of space, time, and matter. And so it's not that the universe has a personality that's connecting with the human personality. It's that humanity and the natural world are together reflecting things that are true about the creator of both. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive back in.
Now, that dovetails with the idea that the logos as a personality, so that would be the Judeo-Christian concept, can investigate the logos of the universe, and that those things dovetail. So now, I know that's a complicated mishmash of ideas, but I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Well, I think there's a lot in that, actually. And I recall listening to you give a very interesting lecture on Genesis 1. And when you came to the statement that human beings are made in the image of God, you paused and you pointed out that this was the cornerstone of our civilization. And I agree with that entirely. I think that what Dawkins is saying actually points in the exact opposite direction to what his worldview is, which is atheism, of course. In other words, that we can read off from creation something about the idea of a creator. And as you say, it dovetails perfectly. Let me put this another way. I'm a mathematician by background and a linguist. I love language, and mathematics is a very sophisticated language, but I love natural languages as well. And it seems to me that where this fits together best is first in the fact that we can do science, in the sense that there is a rational intelligibility to the universe, which is the foundation of modern science and is a legacy of the biblical worldview. So that the mathematical describability, Einstein talked about, he couldn't imagine any genuine scientist without faith in that. It's the axiom for doing science is to believe the universe is intelligible. But if you ask for the rationale behind that, why do we believe the universe is intelligible? It bears the imprint of a creator. And I see that at the level of mathematics, in its capacity to, at least in part, give us a handle on what's out there. And also in biology, where we have at the heart of every living cell the longest word we've ever found, the genetic code. And all of that leads me to formulate it as follows, that we live in a word-based universe. And that's the key of the Logos for me.
Hey, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but that's the end of our session. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of Jordan Peterson and a little bit of trading. How did our trades do? Here's our $77 trades. We took 4 trades and we took 4 wins. Excellent. That's about probably right around a 90-something%, maybe 100. Thanks for watching, everybody, and bless your soul. See you next time.